Hello everyone, my name is Malvesa, and today I get to decide who lives and who dies. So I'm playing a game or social experiment called Second Thoughts, which was released on Steam earlier today. The idea is you get presented with limited information and you have to choose a subject to execute. And from what I understand, you can only save one in the end. So I guess we get to find out if I'm a good person or not? Let's do it. Welcome. You will be required to evaluate data on 8 different subjects. Each day, you will select one of these subjects to be executed using the data provided to make your decision. For each time an execution is performed, you will be provided additional information about every subject, including those you have already killed. If you so wish, you can read this new information despite the subject being already dead, or you can pretend it does not exist and focus on those who are still alive. At the end of the experiment, the surviving subject will be allowed to go free. It is said that knowledge is power. We will find out if the statement is true. Let's do it. I'm ready. Day 1. Okay, so we have 8 subjects here, and I guess I can find out information about them. So we have the first person, Eric Robin, who is a technician, and he has a bunch of crimes listed here. Manslaughter, shoplifting, assault, auto theft. All right. Who's next? Okay, next we have Sarah. What have you done, Sarah? Sarah is an accountant, and she is guilty of fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion. Mia is a teacher. Oh, an arsonist teacher. A burglar, arsonist, and insurance fraud teacher. That is interesting. Here we have River, who's a 22-year-old freelancer and drug manufacturer. Arthur is a 55-year-old male who's a loan officer, and crimes, assault, imprisonment, and kidnapping. Okay, so this guy's pretty bad. This guy's at the top of my kill list. 36-year-old male who's a judge, but his crime is driving under the influence. Eva, 29-year-old female, unemployed, attempted murder, first-degree murder. 18-year-old Japanese, sales associate, crimes, domestic abuse, public intoxication, shoplifting. So I feel like assault, imprisonment, and kidnapping is probably the worst of the list. So I think he's going to be the first to go. Are you sure you want to execute this subject? Yes. This action cannot be undone. Yes, execute him. Please wait. What? Why is there a progress bar for him being executed? And the sound of like a hairdryer. It is done. Day 2. First, I want to see additional information on Arthur. Who did he kidnap? Background. Arthur was a well-respected loan officer who was known for helping those even when it got him in trouble with his bosses, as he saw getting the money they need in life as good cause. That is all well and good, but Arthur, you kidnapped somebody. So we have Eric, who's a mechanic, who turned to crime because he couldn't make money from his business. We have Sarah, the accountant, who's also turned to crime because she's fallen on hard times. We have Mia, the arsonist teacher, who the students really like. River, who is a known drug dealer and has evaded the police in the past. Next, we have Pramod, who's a judge, and his offense is driving under the influence. He's also known for his work with the homeless. And last, we have Kari, who's convicted of shoplifting, domestic abuse, and has had a very troubled past. The next to go is River. All the rest of them, it seems like almost it's their first crime, whereas River is a known criminal. Action cannot be undone. Yes, execute. No, you know what? It doesn't sound like a hairdryer. It sounds like a vacuum cleaner. Okay, River is gone. Day 3. So Eric the mechanic doesn't get along with his family very well. Sarah's mother passed away when she was young, and then she became close with her father. So Mia, the arsonist teacher, was homeschooled, and then her father became the sole breadwinner. Pramod also has a child on the way, which puts him... He was already at the top of my list, so I think he's going to be the one who survives. Eva is a complete mystery. She moves every 3 months for some reason. She was adopted once, but there's no trace of who adopted her. No documentation around that. I'm keeping her around because I want to see what's happening with her. Kari was an abuse victim. They themselves experienced domestic abuse. So maybe the domestic abuse that's on their record is towards the parents that abused them. So I'm gonna keep Kari around because I need to see what's happening with that. I think the next to go is Mia, the arsonist teacher. The family life segment didn't reveal anything useful, but out of the rest of them, I feel like being a teacher and an arsonist is probably a bad combination. So she is the next one I'm executing. So just as I thought, Eric has a lot of financial issues. He's about to lose his house. Makes sense he turned to crime. Sarah herself doesn't have financial issues, but her brother, who has 3 kids, has fallen on hard times. Okay, so maybe she turned to crime because of that. Pramod really is a good guy, the judge. He spends all of his extra money on his friend's family and charity. Okay, he's really at the top of my list to survive here. Eva continues to be a mystery. They don't know her financial situation either because she mostly uses cash, but they assume she doesn't have much money. Kiari is also struggling to get by. They're on a single income, but nothing significant. Eva is the next to go. So far, I haven't seen any justification for what she's doing. She's changing addresses every 3 months. She's paying for everything with cash. She's obviously on the run. Why? I don't know. But she is convicted of first-degree murder, which is the most serious crime out of anybody else here. And now I'm having to choose between executing somebody for manslaughter or executing somebody for first-degree murder. So irrespective of why she's running, I think I have to take her out next because she has the most serious offense from the list. Day 5. The murder itself was of her foster father's sister, with the attempted murder being on her foster father. Due to her refusal to answer most questions, the exact reasoning for these crimes remains unknown. Okay, so the next to go for me is Sarah, because even though her crimes are white-collar crimes, it says that she was in good financial standing. So she had other options. She could have taken out a loan, she could have lent some of her own money, she didn't have to extort a bunch of her clients. Okay, there are confessions. I only wanted to take enough money to get him back on his feet. I thought that taking small amounts at a time that no one would really care. But please, it's not his fault and he had no idea about it. Now we're down to 3 people. And this is a really tough choice because we have Eric, who was stealing food from the supermarket and accidentally killed somebody on his way out trying to get away. We have Pramod, who only has 1 crime against him, but it's a DUI, and he did do it knowingly. And aside from that, he's lived an exemplary life. And we have Kari, and they are somewhat of a mystery now because they say, I will admit to shoplifting, but I don't know how I got mixed up in all of this. I didn't do anything else. Unfortunately, Eric is the one who has to go next. Because again, of all the crimes left, his is the most serious. Okay, so now we have off-the-record comments. His talents as a technician were indeed known to competition, and they were made sure by twisting stories around his ability to prevent him from getting any type of work so that they would get more business. Now we're down to the 2 last people, starting with Pramod, the judge with the exemplary life, who was caught driving under the influence and says that he will now spend his whole life atoning for it. Off the record, the story of drunk driving was a cover-up to hide the fact that Pramod hit a mother and a child of 4 years old when driving that night. Their existence was erased so that he could keep his status as a helper to all. It was, what, a hit and run? Okay, good to know. He dies. And Kari. We finally get to find out what happened with Kari. Their ex-girlfriend made up the entire story of abuse. She saw an out to get media coverage and attention from getting people to trust her over an abusive partner, ended up granted her a lot of fame. Kari ended up being innocent of the domestic abuse, as I had assumed. They did shoplift, though, for food. But I think in light of what I know now, Pramod is a horrible person and he will die next. Kari will be the one that survives, but they are guilty of shoplifting. Okay, the real person that deserved to survive was Mia, the teacher who was accused of arson, the arsonist teacher, who actually didn't end up being an arsonist. They were covering for a student. So Mia is completely innocent of any crime. Unfortunately, they're already gone. So with what we know now, we are executing Pramod. You have chosen which subject you wanted to live. Do you feel that you made the right choice? Would you go back and do it again? Unfortunately, that is impossible. The decisions made are the ones you must live with, but there is more work that must be done. Another set of subjects awaits you. Day 8. What? Does it just keep going? Okay, we have 8 subjects again. What is this XXXXX? Oh, they don't have the name or the crimes. Okay, so it looks like it gave me a list of another 8 subjects, and then you can play the game again. So the game was really fun to play. You can pick it up on Steam for a few dollars. It does really make you think, and I don't know if it's possible to make the right decision without all the information, but I think really that's the whole point of the game. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like or subscribing to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.